The orbital station Nexus Prime hummed with the usual cacophony of interspecies commerce. Marcus Chen wiped grease from his hands as he emerged from beneath the massive Zephyrian cargo hauler, its quantum drive finally purring like a contented cat. The 7-foot-tall crystalline captain clicked his appreciation in the ultrasonic range, a sound that made Marcus's teeth ache. "Payment transferred, human Marcus," the captain's translation device chirped. "Your reputation for mechanical excellence spreads far." Marcus nodded, already mentally cataloging the parts needed for his next job. At 28, he'd built a solid reputation, fixing everything from Terran shuttles to exotic Veltar bioships. His compact workshop in the station's lower levels wasn't glamorous, but it paid well enough. He was heading to the supply depot when the commotion erupted near Docking Bay 7. A sleek obsidian vessel had arrived, clearly diplomatic, judging by the ceremonial escort of station security. Marcus paused, curiosity getting the better of him. The airlock hissed open and she emerged. Empress Zarathiel of the Dominion stood nearly 8 feet tall, her midnight blue skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed in complex rhythms. Her forearms moved with liquid grace, and her large opalescent eyes swept the gathered crowd with regal authority. The Veltar were an ancient species, their empire spanning dozens of systems, and their empress rarely ventured into neutral space. What followed was chaos. A group of Kalari separatists, their chitinous shells gleaming under the station's lights, burst from concealment. Energy weapons discharged, security scattered, and in the confusion, Marcus found himself directly in the line of fire. Training from his brief stint in the Terran Defense Corps kicked in. He tackled the nearest civilian, a young Andorian trader, rolling behind a cargo container just as plasma bolts scorched the deck plating where they had been standing. More civilians screamed and ran as Marcus positioned himself between them and the attackers, his tool belt suddenly feeling woefully inadequate. "This way," he shouted, herding a group of terrified beings toward an emergency exit. A plasma bolt seared past his ear, close enough to smell the ozone. Marcus grabbed a fallen security baton, its weight familiar in his hands. The Empress had taken cover behind her retinue, but Marcus could see the tactical situation deteriorating. Station security was pinned down, and the separatists were advancing. Without thinking, he vaulted over his cover and charged. The lead Kalari never saw him coming. Marcus's improvised weapon cracked against the alien's weapon arm, sending the plasma rifle spinning. He rolled, came up behind another attacker, and applied a sleeper hold he'd learned in basic training. The insectoid crumpled. "Fall back," Marcus called to the scattered security forces. Pincer movement through maintenance corridors. He didn't know why they listened to him. Maybe it was the authority in his voice, or perhaps desperation, but they followed his lead. Within minutes, the separatists found themselves outflanked and overwhelmed. When the smoke cleared, Marcus stood breathing heavily, his jumpsuit torn and bloodied, surrounded by unconscious attackers. The Empress stared at him with those mesmerizing eyes, her bioluminescent patterns shifting to what he somehow knew was deep curiosity. "You fought well, Guardian," she said, her voice like liquid music even through the translator. "I am in your debt." "I'm not a Guardian," Marcus replied, confused. "I'm a mechanic, Marcus Chen." But the damage was done. Word spread through the station like wildfire. The human mechanic was actually a covert bodyguard, so skilled he could masquerade as a civilian while protecting high-value targets. The story grew with each telling until Marcus was supposedly an elite operative from Earth's most secret organizations. The Empress, it seemed, believed it too. She extended her stay on the station, citing diplomatic necessities. In reality, she spent most of her time near Marcus's workshop, observing him work with fascination that seemed to go beyond professional interest. "Your cover is impressive," she said one day, watching him rebuild a fusion coupling. "The way you inhabit this role, it's masterful." Marcus looked up from his work, frustrated. "Your Majesty, I really am just a mechanic. Look." He gestured around his cluttered workshop. "This is my life. Oil stains, burnt coffee, and the occasional satisfied customer." She laughed, a sound like silver bells. Such dedication to your persona. No wonder Earth's enemies never see you coming. Days turned to weeks. The Empress found excuses to visit, bringing broken items from her ship that Marcus suspected weren't really broken at all. He found himself looking forward to her visits, to the way her patterns brightened when she was amused, dimmed when she was thoughtful. "Tell me about Earth," she said one evening, perched on a workbench like some impossibly elegant bird. "Your real Earth, not the diplomatic version." Marcus set down his tools, considering. "It's messy, beautiful and terrible at the same time. We've got oceans that stretch to the horizon, mountains that touch the clouds. But we've also got poverty, war, people who can't seem to get along. Yet you left it." "Had to. Family needed money for medical treatment. Out here, a skilled mechanic can make enough to matter." Her pattern shifted to deep blue, sadness he'd learned. "You sacrifice for those you love. Don't we all?" Something changed in her expression. The royal mask slipped, revealing something vulnerable underneath. "I have sacrificed much for duty. Sometimes I wonder what I might have chosen, had I been free to choose." Their eyes met across the cluttered workspace, and Marcus felt something shift between them. Recognition, understanding, the spark of something that had nothing to do with mistaken identities or diplomatic protocols. "Zara," he said quietly, using her name without title for the first time. "Marcus," she replied, and her voice held warmth that no translator could convey. Later, when her advisors came searching, they found their Empress helping a human mechanic repair an atmospheric processor, her 4 hands moving with surprising skill under his patient guidance. Her bioluminescent patterns pulsed with contentment, a rhythm Marcus was learning to read like words on a page. "Your Majesty," the chief advisor began, scandalized. "Is learning," she finished firmly, "and perhaps teaching as well." Marcus smiled, understanding at last that some mistakes were worth making and some truths were more real than the facts that created them. In the end, it didn't matter whether he was a bodyguard or a mechanic. What mattered was that when she looked at him now, she saw Marcus, all of him, grease stains and all. And somehow, impossibly, that was enough.